Hello there, beautiful people of the internet. A little update on Harley Benton tube amp and Boss pedal, Boss Mega Distortion MD2 pedal. I've been testing the amp over last couple of days, or it was like 1 day or 2 days, I don't know. But I've been testing it even more, and I've tested it with a bigger speaker, and it definitely sounds better and fuller, and the bass is there because this one lacks bass, big time. It just farts all the time. It just really miss. It really misses that low bottom movement of the speaker, and it just basically farts. It's like a fast distortion pedal, even though I've never had one, but it sounds like it. And as far as I remember, in the last video I've said something like that this distortion pedal is bad, like it's not what I'm looking. I mean, it's not bad, but it sounds like something totally else that I'm looking for. And actually I would like to take it back, but because I think that pedal sounds really nice. I've tested it some more with Yamaha, and I mean, just listen. This is a clean sound. So yeah, the pedals sound really nice, they're full, but it all depends from the amp, and Yamaha is an amazing amp. I've said it so many times, but it's still the best amp I've ever had. For my purpose right here in a very small computer room. I mean my every single day room, because I've spent all the time here. And the amp itself, I've have periods of time when I'm like, wow, it sounds really nice. It has its own character, even with the farty sound. It sounds vintage-like, and but it has to go. It has to go because every time I crank it a little bit more, and I have learned that it with 5 watts, 5 watt setting, the default one, on the 7th, it starts to breaking up really nicely, and I think it's like almost the sweet spot of it, or even 8. This is like the place, the level where the sound breaks a little, and it's already really loud. If you drop to 1 watt, this breakage, that level of breaking, the sound breaking, moves. You have to raise the volume again to reach that breakage, which rise, raise, raise oh my god, one of these, the volume again. So it's like a constant battle of with loudness. So I just can't, I just really can't use any tube amp, and it's so pointless in my opinion to use 1 watt tube amp if you can't really crank it to its 80% of volume, or even with some attenuated power like 0.1 watt of tube power. It just lacks everything, you know. It's just counter productive. No, not counterproductive. It's just there's just no point, you know. Just get dedicated amp which was designed from the very start to sound amazing at the bedroom level, and this is what really sounds amazing. I can make it loud. Obviously I can't make it just as loud as 8-inch speaker, but it still sounds so, you know, it's just highest quality I have ever had in person, okay? And yeah, the 12-inch speaker is amazing. It feels super nice when everything shakes in the room, but I personally worry that, you know, I'm gonna go deaf. That's the one thing. I can play it like this only when my parents are not at home, and my mother has retired only recently, so she's like constantly at home. And even though she's okay, and like she says like she is not bothered with the sound, I know that she is, she's just being nice to me. So yeah, there's just no way I can play this, and it sounds better, and I don't spend any more money. The one thing is, you know, I thought that I might be able to save this amp, because as I've mentioned before, there are times when I feel like it sounds really nice. You know, it has its own really special sound to it. If you don't judge it, you know, like this sound versus this sound, and which is the highest quality, obviously this one will lose. Even when I crank it, it's gonna lose because it's just farty. This 8-inch speaker just doesn't cut it. And even though when I connected today to Greenback again, and I've tested it with you know, almost with 5 watt, which is the default power, and you know, even max, it still lacks the quality in its sound. So it's definitely amp, it's not pedal. And I think I've said it's the pedal is the fault of that weird low quality sound, or maybe not the low quality sound, but this weird character or vintage sound. Actually, it's not, because as you can hear, I can make it just as quiet as I can, you know, speak normally, and I can still make it sound amazing. Oh, let me change my hand. Super quiet. My camera is on my left hand. My arm is straight. Reached out. It's super quiet. Oh. So yeah. I like the tube. I like this combo for what it is, and I would probably think about keeping it, because if I would have more time to actually use it like it should be used, with, you know, 5 watt power, and, you know, at least a half of the volume, and it would be even better if it was sitting somewhere around 6 or 8, you know, when the sound breaks really nicely, because it breaks really nicely, and I really like how it reacts to the dynamic of strumming. I really like it, and I've never focused on it before, and I have no idea why it's that. Maybe it's all in my head, but I just feel like it's just more lively. Like it's listen to what I do with the strings more. But it might be because I play only distorted presets on this one, so it's hard to listen, hard to spot the difference when I'm playing only very distorted presets. Here I've been playing some clean, and I like when the sound breaks, when I strum harder, when the volume is louder, and everything is super nice because I really don't miss controls like bass, treble, middle, everything. I just don't miss it at all. I play with 5 watt to 1 watt if I don't want to play super loud and I'm playing distortion or something. When I play clean, I go back to 5 watt, crank the volume, and around 7 it starts breaking really nicely when I strum harder. So I just love the simplicity of it. But the problem is it's just too loud. It's too loud, and I'm not even living in a flat. So unfortunately it has to go, but I'm gonna enjoy it a little bit more, but the chances that it will stay are very, very slim. The thing is, I really thought that I'm gonna be able to save it, and I have ordered Boss Metal Core 2 again. I had this pedal before, and I think I've tested it with my Blackstar HT1 R, which is a reverb version head, and it was amazing and everything, but the basses was so hard that it was actually clipping, and some weird stuff was going on with the sound. And I was really hoping I'm gonna be able to pull it out, that amazing fat tone, heavy distorted tone out of this what combo. Sorry, I have noticed also that there is some cracking. I don't know if it's normal or not. It might be because of the computer or other power sources. You can barely hear it. Plus, it doesn't go away when I go up with the volume, so it's probably I have no idea because I haven't done proper research, but someone mentioned that it might be because of a tube or a bad sitting tube connection or something like that. Anyway, I would say it's super quiet. It's fully cranked 5 watt, and I'm strumming high E string a little very gently. I can make it really quiet, but if I strum it, harder, it's gonna go really, really loud. So yeah, it could stay with me, but it's just not for my space where I live. Okay. the pedals are, this pedal is exactly doing what I thought it's gonna do. It gives you really nice fat sound with really nice bottom end, but I don't know, it's just because of this amp, and I don't even want to say an 8-inch speaker, but because it only amplifies that harshness and that fuzziness of that sound. But with a 12-inch speaker, Greenback, I haven't even tested with V30 because I haven't broken in this speaker yet. I probably haven't broken in this speaker as well, but I've played on this one a lot. I mean, not a lot, but a lot more than on V30. So I haven't even connected it to V30. I've checked it on Greenback 25 watts, and the sound is, it's nicer, fuller, the bass is better, but it's just way too loud, so there was just this is just not for me, not for my environment, not for my setup. And as for the sound with that super old radio fuzzy tone, I'm not gonna lie, I like it, and I really enjoy playing it. It just bothers me that I can't really crank it all the time. I mean, not all the time, but there is so little occasions to actually make it louder that it just defines the purpose of having it. So I'm gonna think some more, and if you live alone, if you don't bother with loudness anyone else, like your parents, your family, etc., you're not living in an apartment, this could really work out for you, because if you don't expect it sound really high quality, and you would like to have something like with a vintage vibe to it, and you don't mind this fuzzy tone, it's really nice. And yeah, so I wouldn't call this amp bad, or I don't know. It is just its own thing, basically. You either like it or you hate it. Even with the knowledge of really high quality sound, I can still like it. I can still like it for what it is, because it has, I've never heard something, I don't want to say bad, but yeah, at first it sounded really bad, like it's super farty and fuzzy, but it has its own charm, because it constantly reminds me of something coming from which is coming out of from super old radio, like from 40s or 50s. This sound isn't so refined, isn't so clear, and to me, playing through this amp, even though, and actually I have heard some vinyls at my grandparents' house, but yeah, it basically reminds me of, like listening to vinyl music. There are cracks, the quality of the sound might be a little bit distorted, and everything. I'm just talking some basic consumer level one, listening to vinyl, not some high-end stuff. And this is how I will compare it. Just some dirty band vinyl record on very low quality vinyl recorder, but it sounds, very unique, and it has super nice nostalgic charm to it, and same goes with this amp. So yeah, I'm waiting for Metalcore 2 pedal, which should come tomorrow, but I already know there is no way that this pedal will be able to pull out the sound I'm after, and even though if it had pulled that sound, it still bothers me to have this amp and not being able to play it without worrying that I might bother my parents downstairs, or damaging my hearing. But I don't think it's that loud, because I've played it louder today with 5-watt mode, default full power mode on 8 clean, and it was alright. I mean, it wasn't alright because the whole house could hear me, but I haven't felt like it's going above the threshold of what of a healthy point where I could damage my hearing, but I can obviously be mistaken, So yeah, so some afterthoughts after spending some more time all alone, with the amp and pedals and everything. I'm not gonna lie, I've enjoyed it really, really enormously yesterday, even with with my mum downstairs, but especially bands or high notes. I don't know. It's just the volume is way too piercing. It's way too loud, and the sound becomes so so piercing that it actually bothers me playing, because I'm afraid to bend the strings more because the sound is even more piercing. So yeah, it's just not for me, I guess. All my space is just too little for such gear. Yeah. So a lesson for me: never ever I will get a tube amp again. There's just no point. Even with 8-inch speaker, it's still loud. It's really more quiet. It's quieter than 12-inch speaker. There's no doubt about it, but it's still too loud for what I would like it to be. So Yamaha, you're still the champion. You've won with Blackstar HT1, with Black Spirit Hughes and Kettner 200, Black Spirit 200, with this as well. And to be honest, that's it. Oh, I had Pod 500X, but it was long time ago, and I don't really like playing the guitar through my studio monitors, because I use them to play background music, and I just hate when everything blends in. I can't really find some stuff I would like to hear from the guitar. So this is why I really like dedicated speakers for the guitar, so I can, my ears can do the music blending and not the two speakers. But it might actually be a good idea as well, because I could hear how the guitar sounds right in the mix, but yeah, I can always do it with some plugins and everything, but I really like to hear every single I don't know the word, nuances. No, I don't know if it's a word, nuances. Maybe it's a word in English. Like little details, which might get lost in the mixed sound coming from the studio monitors. So I will probably move this amp on display, since my gaming consoles are not gonna sit there anymore, and I would like to have the sound coming more to my face than from behind, because this is how I've been playing for years. My amp there was just standing watching here basically, and the sound was coming behind me, which was nice, I didn't mind it because it sounded really nice, but it sounds different when you're facing the sound. Okay, I think that's it. So hopefully you have learned something from it, and yeah, I would definitely recommend if you have a chance to test it out, because for the money it's super cheap. You've got 8-inch speaker, you can still connect bigger speaker to it, so yeah, you definitely should test it if you're not bothered with the high volume, because it might not be deafening loud, but it's loud enough to make it audible in the whole house, or even outside the house. So yeah, that's it, I guess.